Today we're catching up with Lauren Alaina. We're talking about the powerful songwriting on her brand new album, Sitting Pretty on Top of the World. We're also chatting about healing from some big breakups and collaborating with one of her best friends, John Party. Tell me about It Was Me.
I wrote It Was Me with Hillary Lindsay, just the two of us. We had written another song that day. I was sitting on this idea. It wasn't you, I didn't love, it was me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really sacred idea to me. Like I knew I had to get it right. You know, some ideas you have and you think they're a good idea and you're like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And you hope for the best. But this specific song and this specific idea, I was like, I have to get this right. It was kind of prompted by my publisher, Alicia Pruitt. We were talking about the record. I pretty much wrote all the songs on the record within like a 2-month span.
Mm.
And I wrote a lot of songs about this breakup that I had had that was horrific. And he was a cheater and he was just the worst. And obviously perfect recipe for songwriters, right?
Mm-hmm.
The worse the situation,
Sucks,
the more
yeah.
you can write.
Yeah.
The bigger and louder it is, the more you can write about it. And so I'd written a bunch of those, and those are all on the album. But Alicia said to me, I think we need a song where you're the bad guy.
Ooh.
She said that to me, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to have to go into the archives for this because the last time I was the bad, quote unquote, bad guy was when I was engaged and I walked away. So when Alicia said that to me, I thought, okay, I need to go back because this is probably something that I've thought about before and I just didn't write it. And I found in my notes on my phone from like 2.5 years ago, it wasn't you I didn't love, it was me. And I saw it and I was like, how did I have this all this time and like never write it? Because I have thousands of ideas on my phone. I mean, all I do all day long is like write down
And you're
ideas.
always looking for an idea that's that, like, not to sticky. Like that
Special.
that is a very special idea. You could have thrown that out in any room and everyone would have been like, that is a great idea.
And because Alicia like said, we need this, I was like, well, at what point in my life was I that person? And it was with Alex. And so I like went back and I was like, I saw this and I was like, oh my word. But I think I didn't write it then. I thought it, but I didn't know it. You know, like at some point I had that thought, but I didn't know that. I didn't love myself.
Know it.
Like know it enough to 100% commit to that idea enough to write it with one other person.
I mean.
But for whatever reason, that song, I told Hillary the idea that day. I was like, can you stay on Zoom? Mind you, we also wrote it on Zoom, which is a whole
I can't believe how intimate it is considering that too.
We were I think we were both at our houses writing it. So maybe that helped with the intimacy. I'm not sure. But Hillary Lindsay's Hillary Lindsay. So you could write with her in the bathroom, I think, and you would come out with a masterpiece. But I said this idea to her and she was like, are you kidding me? And so I just started saying like, these are the kind of things that I'm like thinking. And before I knew it, she was like, well, you wrote the chorus. So here we are. We've arrived at the chorus. And we actually paused there because she's a mom. She had to go take care of her sweet baby girl. And I think the next week we got back together and we ended up writing it. And I literally believe it's the best song I've ever written.
Like what's really hopeful about this story, and I think this record is about value. Like I hear this record as about your value, knowing your own value, knowing when people are not valuing you. And I'm putting that on you. I don't know if that is hitting you right.
Yeah. So for me, this album is about loving yourself when others don't. Because that's like learning to love yourself is a whole stage in life, right? Like becoming a person is a big stage. And it happens from 17 to 25, right? And ish. It's different for everyone. But for me, 17 to 25, two different humans. A lot of the same characteristics in my personality, but the way I think about things, the way I do things, it's just very, very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to be 27. And so this album really represents the woman I am now. And I wrote it in the last 8 months. So it really represents the woman I am now. And I've been through 2 pretty big breakups. not pretty big, explosive breakups very publicly. And it was like this season of my life tested everything I said on that album. Like to love myself, to believe in myself, to love others, to be kind. This album was like, hey, here are all of these explosive things happening, and how are you going to be on the other side of it? Like, what is the woman on the other side of all of this stuff going to look like? And yeah, here I am, and I'm really proud of it. But it is an album about overcoming. I think that will forever be what I do as an artist. It's just like overcoming, being kind, loving others, loving yourself. And it's so funny that like this season of my life was a lot of loss, you know, as far as in the love department, for sure. And I'm still confident and strong and the woman that I choose to be because I got through those things and I'm sitting pretty on top of the world.
I want to talk a little bit about Getting Over Him just because, well, one, it's kind of like you've been featured on so many things. And I love that you kind of turned the tables and did a feature as like your next move. Okay, I'll go wherever you want to go about this song, but I was kind of just like, was John always who you had in mind when y'all wrote this? Were you thinking of him or what?
Well, when I had the idea, so this idea came from someone else, like directly from someone's mouth to me. My friend said, it was after those two breakups that, you know, we've talked about, and I was kind of in this season of, I went through a season of nobody. And then I was like kind of seeing this new guy. And I realized pretty early on that it wasn't going to work out. And I was talking to my friend about it and I was like, this is just not going to work. And I was kind of bummed, but not so much about the person, just about another relationship failure. And she said, well, let me tell you. If all he did was show you that you could get over that last guy, then he served his purpose in your life.
Oh, yes.
Like, don't see it as a failure because remember when you were like crying saying you were never going to get over that last guy?
Yeah.
You did it. So congratulations. Like you've seen that you can be interested in someone else. So I wrote down, not my forever guy, my get over him guy or something like that. And so I went into the writing session I actually called Paul, who's the producer. I said that before, but I called him and said, can you make me like a dirty country guitar loop and send it to me that I can be living with and like get my brain in that mode? First of all, it ended up being the actual exact loop that is undeniable as soon as you hear it.
It's so good.
So good. And so we wrote it with Emily Wise Band and we wrote the chorus and the first verse. And we felt pretty good about it.
Yeah.
But I said, you know, I don't want to just look like this person that's like using this guy because that was not the intention at all. Like I actually really liked the guy. And I think he probably just didn't, like he also had been through a breakup, this guy. So we were kind of in the same boat. And he went more of the, I'm going to party and do whatever I want for a really long time thing. And I was like, I don't want, that's not my journey. So that's kind of how I knew it was going to work out. But it was pretty mutual as far as like, we decided deuces.
Yeah.
So we told the male perspective. So we described the guy that the song's like actually about. And then when we listened back to it, I was like, sounds like John Party. Like the denim on denim and all of the like characteristics of this character that we described. It's obviously not John Party.
Yeah.
But it just fit him so well. And so we got a demo made of it and I sent it to John. Like we're really good friends, like really. Like,
he is.
A lot of people are artist friends and John Party and I would be friends if we weren't artists. Like he's just my buddy. So I just texted it to him and he said yes. It was like the easiest collaboration of all time. He was like, this song's better. Sorry, Mom. And I was like, thanks. And he like came in and sang it and that was it. And then it became the single and people are loving it. And you know what the best thing about this song for me is? It's been such a serious time and the song's not serious.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
we need both.
Yes.
We need both.
Yes.
We absolutely do. And you totally deliver in both categories.